What we'll get into now, Rob, last night ESPN ran something they call ESPN Backstory, and it was about the behind the scenes, everything that went into the decision.
Did you get a check? You were on there so much.
I was on there a lot, but no check.
No check?
No check. No check.
They said don't let the door hit you on the way out. I mean,
I did it all for the love. No, I mean, it was, they came to my house. Well, we did it during the quarantine.
Right.
So, but yeah, so it was about the decision. And I want to throw this out to you and see what you think. 10 years later now, 2020, decision happened in 2010. Do you think that it was good for basketball or bad? Not the decision show, but what LeBron did teaming up with Wade and Bosh. And that's kind of led to these player-generated super teams now. And do you think that was good or bad for the game?
I've always said that LeBron ruined the NBA, and I'm going to stick by that. Even when he won the East 8 years, went to the finals 8 years in a row, it messed with the competitive balance of the NBA. And I think that's the part that you never want to get away from. And people don't understand if people should be able to just do whatever they want and go wherever they want, then you don't need to have a draft. And if you have a league where you have top-heavy teams, and you could talk about that there's always been good teams, Chris, and teams that have always had, for whatever reason, an advantage or whatever because of where they played or whatever. But when guys start to come together and take away from other teams, and what I mean, Toronto got wrecked and Cleveland got wrecked and Miami became this juggernaut. And when they laughed and were on stage dancing around and talking about not 2, not 3, not 4, they meant it.
Not 2, not 3,
not 4. It didn't happen. 5. But when they put that team together, they really believed that they had done something. They were going to win all these championships. That wasn't a joke. They really believed that. 3 guys from the same draft class on one team where they would have a chance to win. And I say they underachieved because they only won 2 out of the 4. Right. They should have won it.
I think most would say that. At least
right?
3.
If you win 3, then you're in a unique class, Chris. Yep. Would you agree with that?
I don't think that was an all-time great team.
It's not, because they didn't do winning 2 out of 4. It just wasn't special. It was supposed to be special. So my long answer is yes. I do think that it wasn't good for the NBA. I believe if LeBron James never did that, Chris, Kevin Durant would have never left OKC. I don't know that for sure.
I don't think it would have even crossed his mind.
Am
honestly.
I right, Chris?
I don't think it would have crossed his mind.
I really don't.
There's no way you would have ever thought, let me join a 73-win team that already just won the championship a year ago that beat me in the play. Like, I don't think that would have – I mean this from the bottom of my heart. I don't think it would have even crossed his mind. And I don't think Draymond would have asked him. I just don't think that would have even been in people's consciousness to think that, because it's like you've never seen that before. And LeBron, because I think they were similar in principle. LeBron going to Miami, KD going to Golden State. I think KD's, KD's was worse, I guess, for lack of a better word, because LeBron didn't go to a team that had won championships. They still had to put things together. But in principle, it was I'm joining a stacked team that is clearly the best in the NBA. Durant joined there was just no doubt that team was going to roll over everybody. And so that's why I say it was worse. But in principle, it was similar. I don't think it was bad for the game. I think it created a lot of interest and a lot of drama. And then, to your point, Miami didn't dominate. Now, maybe if they had won 4 straight, we could have been like, okay, this, but they didn't. They won 2. And then when they lost, it was like a huge story with Dallas beating them and the Spurs beating them. And, AD deciding to go to LeBron, stuff like that's happened before. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar forced his way out of Milwaukee to go to the Lakers. So guys have forced trades before. Chris Paul did it, going to Houston to play with James Harden, and then he got jettisoned. And then we saw Kawhi and Paul George kind of work their thing, but that's been good. Kawhi and Paul George to do it has actually created more interest and drama and intrigue about this season. And same thing with AD going to the Lakers. The one thing I will say, I think it's undeniable, Durant going to the Warriors, which again was sparked by what LeBron did, that was just that wasn't competitive.
But Chris,
you know what I mean?
What did I always say
competitive.
that LeBron started MySpace and Kevin Durant and the Warriors started Facebook.
Right? You're absolutely right. That's a great metaphor.
He got one-upped. And then LeBron, you can't even be mad like a lot of the minions are like, well, that's unfair. How you going to go join? Well, LeBron, that's what you did. You put together.
Right.
You showed what you could do, and you laid the groundwork, and it came back to bite him.
You're absolutely right. Because he would almost certainly have at least one more championship, right? If Durant had not joined that team. And a lot of people always say, well, yeah, he had to play the Warriors. But you're right. I mean, Durant put together a better team than LeBron.
He did.
That's all there was to it. He didn't have as difficult a road. All he had to do was just go join the Warriors. But that is the fact that, he won up to LeBron on that, and it definitely haunted LeBron.
It wound up hurting LeBron in the back end, Chris.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep, no doubt about it. So, but yeah, I would not like to see another Golden State situation with Durant. Golden State before Durant was fine because it was kind of organic. It was not kind of, it was organic. I don't mind, Kawhi and George or the Anthony Davis and LeBron because they're not like that far. They're the best teams in the league, I would say, but they're not like surefire bets to win. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like with Golden State, it just wasn't even close. And we know they would have won it. They would have beat Toronto if they got Durant and Klay Thompson if they didn't get hurt. So that was the real egregious.
And the thing when we talk about the Warriors, Chris, they made it 5 years in a row. And that hadn't happened since the 60s and the Celtics when there were only 10 teams in the league or whatever. You know what I mean? That's the difference. What people don't understand. When the Celtics and some of these teams were winning all those championships, you say, well, the Celtics won all the time. There were only 10 or 12 teams, and there was no free agency. So when you had a powerhouse team, Chris, it never changed. Right? If we were good last year, we were locked in for the next 8-10 years. Yep. And I tell people all the time, go do your history. Go look at teams during that time. The Yankees went to the World Series 8 out of 10 years in the 50s with Mickey Mantle and those guys, Chris. And the Green Bay Packers won all the time. Yep. And the Montreal Canadiens.
Curtain in the NFL. I mean, they had Hall of Famers all up and down the starting lineup on both sides, but you couldn't change. They couldn't go anywhere. Right. Nobody could get them. Yeah. Yeah. So, all right, your turn to weigh in 877-99 on Fox, 877-996-6369. Looking back on it, was the decision, not the show, but LeBron creating these player-generated super teams and the start of the player empowerment era, was that good for the NBA or not? Your turn to weigh in as we continue the conversation with you next. It's the Odd Couple, Chris and Rob.
All right, let's start with Joseph in Virginia. You're on the Odd Couple, Fox Sports Radio. What's up, Joseph?
Good evening, fellas.
What's
I'm
happening?
I'm gonna have to disagree with you, fellas, and it's just because I feel like that move made the league kind of what it is today. If you kind of look at what it was, there's no telling if Kawhi would have left the Spurs. There's no telling if any of these players, as you said, would have left their original franchises. I feel like the setup of having that initial 7-year stint and then being able to go elsewhere is kind of what players have to do if their franchises aren't winning franchises. If you look at what KD did, if you look at what LeBron did, they gave their teams optimal time to try and
Michael Jordan played 7 years for the Bulls. They didn't win. He didn't go anywhere. That's just that's false. That's false.
They had Phil Jackson.
No,
they
no,
had
but
a GM.
They
had a
hadn't
GM
won,
that was
no.
smart.
No.
They also had an owner.
I'm actually in agreement. Like, the only thing I said was the only one that I thought was negative was just Durant going to Golden State, because that did just kind of ruin the competitive balance in the league.
All I'm saying is,
outside of that, I'm fine with them.
There
I said,
is a
I think it did
competitive
create
balance
drama
that you
and
have
interest.
to have. Otherwise, you don't have a league.
Yeah, and you had it with Miami, and you've had it with all these other teams. You got it now with the Clippers and the Lakers. Even though their teams were somewhat player generated as far as the moves, they're still competitive. Milwaukee's right there with them. Houston's good. They're competing with each other. So I just think the Golden State one was just so dominant.
Marty in Kentucky, you're on the Odd Couple Fox Sports Radio. What's up, Marty?
What's up, fellas? I'm not going to rip the Golden State because it was the most dominant of the team-up era. It was just the result of the team-up era. And I'm not going to blame LeBron either, because the Celtics did it on a smaller level before LeBron did.
They didn't do it, Marty. They made trades to put that team
Yeah,
together. It ain't the same. It ain't the same, Marty.
Because remember,
when you trade, you have
Ray Allen got traded.
You have to give up something
Garnett
to
didn't
get
even
it.
want to go there.
It was
but
a
he
trade.
had
I'll
to be
agree that
convincing to
I'll
him.
agree it's different than trades and free agents are different, but they did put some all-stars together with one young stud that they drafted out of, our guy out of Louisville, Rondo. But it all starts somewhere and escalates, and there's always eras in the league. And you guys know I'm not a LeBron fan, but I'm not blaming him for this. There's eras. This is the team-up era, and that's just how it is. And it pretty much escalated to its highest level with Golden State, and I think it's going to drift away from there. And a new era.
And look, you next year.
Thanks, Marty. Say hi to River.
Next year, Rob, we're gonna have the Clippers, the Lakers, and Brooklyn, and that's not even mentioning Milwaukee and some of these other good teams. But Brooklyn's gonna be fun.
It'll
I don't
be
think they're gonna win a championship. That's me, but some think they will.
I think they're gonna win next year.
Yeah.
Keith in
so
Peoria.
It's exciting.
It is. Keith in Peoria, Illinois. You're on the Odd Couple Fox Sports Radio. What's up, Keith?
How we doing, fellas?
Doing good.
What's up,
Rob, before I get started, stop hating on Brady, man. He ain't did that bad, buddy. Come on now. Stop hating on the boy.
Did you see
Come
his last
on.
pass in New England?
Yet.
It was an interception.
Worst
a
throw
pick
in
six.
10 years by
I
Tom
know
Brady.
that.
That's right. Okay.
Hey, let's
Brady
get
is
on
the
the
GOAT.
subject.
We all know that.
We know that.
It's
There
just
you go,
ridiculous.
Chris.
Yeah.
Now, as far as this conversation, I do agree with Marty on a little bit. Boston started it when they didn't do it the
They
same
didn't
way.
start
but
it.
They didn't
basically-
start it.
I mean, if you're gonna
What
say
they
that they
did-
couldn't have, the Lakers were a super team.
Right.
That's right. I can
Showtime
go
Lakers.
all the way back
No,
to
but
the
it-
70s and the 80s. You had
the
a lot of
Sixers when they got,
super
but
teams.
that's
Look
the
at
thing.
Magic, Jabbar, and Worthy. You
Yeah,
think
but they
about
were
it.
put together by the team.
Yes,
They were
it's
organic.
totally
that's
different.
That's all we're saying. They were
Yes.
organic. That's the difference.
It's different. You can't say it's the same. We got one more to squeeze in here. Carlos in Birmingham, Alabama. You're on the Odd Couple Fox Sports Radio. What's up, Carlos?
I'm good. How you fellas doing?
Good.
What's
Are
up,
you
man?
on speaker? Take off the speaker, Carlos.
Sorry about that. Yeah, I just wanted to say I think it was great for the league. I think it put the onus on owners to actually build once they get these guys. Because LeBron, he outlasted his time in Cleveland, I think. And something I don't hear guys mention often, Chris Bosh, he blocked the trade to go to Cleveland. I think if he allows that trade to go through, LeBron doesn't end up going anywhere at that time anyway. If they don't work out together, if Bosh ends up going there, I think LeBron might leave then. But I think Bosh blocking that trade set everything in motion.
Well, LeBron was trying to get Bosh to go to Cleveland as a free agent. The year that they all ended up in Miami, LeBron was trying to get Bosh to go there, and Bosh was like, I'll go to Miami, you know what I mean, over Cleveland. And so I thought, Rob, that, and maybe he would not have, but I thought LeBron sold himself short with that move.
Chris,
Because
I've
I
always
thought he
said
could
that.
have won.
He would have won.
Here's the caveat I'll throw in there. You saw against Boston, for some reason, he could never get that Cleveland team over the hump. Orlando beat him after they won 66 games. Then Boston beat him after they won 61, and he kind of melted down at the end of that series. And then the first year in Dallas, or, against Dallas in Miami, he obviously melted down. So it was, the narratives become he had to learn how to win, and D Wade helped him with that. And maybe that's true. So maybe if he had stayed by himself in Cleveland, maybe he would never have gotten over the hump. I thought he was good enough to get over the hump. I thought his narrative might be very different. Had he stayed there and won multiple rings in Cleveland, kind of like Jordan did, maybe some throw him in the GOAT conversation. He's in the GOAT conversation, but you know what I mean? It might have been looked at more favorably for him, Rob.
Chris, had he won 2 or 3, you know what I mean? Like, say he was 3-1 with all the accolades
that's
and all
different.
the other numbers. Yep. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yep.
Go for an organization that was always a loser, turned it into a winner. He was 3-1. That's like a formidable number, to go along with all the other stuff. And you might look totally different at LeBron. I think he sold himself short too. I really do.
Yeah, no question. All right, Shop Talk is next. Keep it locked. Couple Fox Sports Radio.